Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Heal Your Mind, Heal the World podcast. My name is Anne Marie Morales. Today, I've got a piece of my heart with us. This beautiful soul reached out to me about a year and a half ago, and I knew that we were meant to work together. I knew there was something special about her soul. Now, I'm going to tell you that the subject matter today is out there. So if, this isn't your cup of tea, and I'm talking galactic, I'm talking multiple realms, I'm talking dragons. If this is not your cup of tea, then that's fine. But if it is, stick around. I have the immense pleasure of bringing to you a spirit-led conversation with my beautiful friend, Nanichy Negron, also known as Starseed Nani. And welcome, Nanichy, to the Heal Your Mind, Heal the World podcast.
Thank you for having me.
This relationship that we have, you are like a sister to me, a little sister. And I've seen you grow, I've seen you blossom, and we both know that Spirit brought us to this podcast because
Yeah.
when I first met you, this would never have occurred.
No.
So if you wouldn't mind, just tell the viewers a little bit about who you are and how you came to work with me.
Okay. Well, it's kind of interesting actually because I had no idea who you were. I had no idea who Anne Marie was. It was actually my sister, my older sister, who follows the name will get to me.
Tina,
And
it's
she,
Tina, right?
Tina, yeah, Tina Spalding, yes. She follows her and she spoke to me about, oh, there's this lady who channels Jesus, and I feel this energy, and it's so powerful. And she has a friend, Anne Marie, and she started talking to me about it and sent me a couple of videos, and I was curious, so that's my first introduction to Anne Marie. And during that time, I was going through so many challenges, let's say. Um, I couldn't sleep, constant disturbances. Um, because I have a lot of remote views,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of the things that I see are so dark that they can be disturbing. And I don't know, I felt like my life was just stuck. When I was working in spirit, either remote viewing or astral traveling or fighting evil, fighting spirits. That's what I did. I fought a lot with a lot of spirits. But then when it came to life on Earth, I had no idea what I was doing. So it was so depressing. And then I saw a video where you were channeling fairies, and it was, wait a minute, there's something in here because most of my experiences with spirit have always been parallel dimension, dragons, fairies, even vampires, and all that. So, and I've always been kind of skeptical when it comes to certain religious, like Jesus or Catholicism, things like that. I've always been a little ugh. Yeah, more on that later. But then I saw that. I was like, wait a minute. So it's not just this. And after that, I saw a channeling of Ra. And that's when it hit me. Because I've been obsessed with Egyptian mythology and gods, and I've been seeing them since I was a kid.
Wow.
And that's when you know what, I gotta look a little more into this stuff. And I landed on your page and I saw what you were offering, the with the hypnosis therapy and what you were doing. And I was so nervous the first time I reached out to you. Oh my goodness. I must have written that email 100 times.
Oh,
Yeah, because I had never met any other person who knew about that kind of stuff. I couldn't speak freely about those things. It was just me, my sister, and my sister. So it was very limited. So I figured, you know what? Screw it. I just hit send. Hey, can you help me? I have this phobia and this phobia. I can't get out of the house. I cannot sleep. I'm going crazy. And that's when you reached out. You know, okay, I'm a hypnotherapist. Because at that time you hadn't finished yet the second course,
mm-hmm.
but you were still willing. But if I cannot go that deep, but if you're willing, for to work on this part, I'm open. And I was so desperate, and I just felt this push, like, you know what? Yes, that's what we're gonna do. And it was June the 14th, the 14th of June. I still
Mm-hmm.
remember.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when we had our first session. And oh my God, I I don't remember much, honestly, about that first session, but I do remember having this feeling of relief that I could speak about, what I've been through and the things that I've seen. I mean, I've been on spaceships since I was a child. I mean, who you can't just talk about that with anybody.
Right.
You're a nut. You're
Yeah.
just a nut. And I figured, okay, I'm a nut. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when, we started our first session and we started going there. And there was just something so familiar about you, but I had no idea what it was at the time. But I was comfortable. I was more relaxed. I was, you know, open to everything that you were saying. And okay, I, I'm getting somewhere.
Right.
We're getting somewhere. Yeah, because ugh,
So basically, well,
but I'm happy.
I remember the first session because I was my heart was so open. Um, I'm getting emotional. When you living the life that you have lived, and I'm assuming I'd like you to talk a little bit as to when you found out or
Mhm,
what were you experiencing? You say you astral travel a lot, you remote view a lot.
mhm.
Are you do you consider yourself a medium or talk a little bit about how it was to be you as a child growing up and where do you live? Because I think that factors in.
Okay. Well, I'm Caribbean. I'm Caribbean. I live in Puerto Rico. I've never been out of the island. I've always been here. But I've been remote viewing and astral traveling since my memory goes as far back as 4 or 5 years old.
Mhm.
And I don't consider myself a medium. I really don't. Um, but it was tough because most of my remote views centered around disasters,
Mm.
um, tsunamis, earthquakes, hurricanes, mm, bombing, things like that. And to me at the time, it was okay. I had a nightmare, but then my parents would have the news on, and they would be talking about exactly what I saw when I was in my sleep. The first time it happened, it was an earthquake in Japan. It was an earthquake in Japan. I kind of had a nightmare. I just saw it, they're just nightmares. They're not visions, they're nightmares.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I was on top of a wood plank. I remember it was wood in the middle of the sea or the ocean. I just knew it was open water, and I was looking around, and there was this big disaster. Houses ripped apart, people, screaming, climbing on top of whatever they could. Uh, the water was dirty, and it was horrible. And the about 3, 4 days later, I was just okay. Yeah, I had a nightmare. I couldn't sleep. It's okay. And my dad turned on the news, and they were talking about there was an earthquake in Japan, and a lot of people went missing. Some died. And I'm listening to that, and I'm, wait, what? So I went to the living room where the TV was. And when they showed the photos of the disaster, I just froze because it was exactly what I saw. It was exactly what I saw. And oh my goodness. And I told my parents about it. I had spoken to my parents about it. I had this vision, I saw this, and it was my parents who said, "Oh, that was just a nightmare, don't worry." Okay. And then it happened. I got
And what
spooked.
was their reaction? What was
Oh,
their
they were
reaction?
they were freaking out. They were scared. Even my mom looked at me and was like, "You're scaring me right now."
Yeah.
And not, you're scaring me right now, Nani. You're scared. I was
Hmm.
there. I was
Right.
there. I saw it. I was there and when I realized that what was floating around me were bodies,
My God.
you can imagine what it was like. And I had to keep all that to myself. So it really wasn't easy. I was, as a kid, I was really shy. I didn't speak to anybody. I did not speak unless spoken to. I'm very introverted, very quiet. I didn't really speak to people. But at the same time, those things happened, but it started happening with otherworldly experiences as well, such as um, spaceships and extraterrestrials.
Mm.
Because the first memory that I have of being um, I wouldn't say contact with extraterrestrials because it wasn't up close, but they were darker entities. They weren't friendly ETs.
Mm. Hmm.
Um, I'm trying to
Well,
remember that
yeah,
that part.
before you go
Sorry.
any further,
Go
I
on.
do have a theory about that. And I think we've discussed this. When
Mhm.
you are an extremely gifted soul, my ear is ringing. When you are an extremely gifted soul in terms of, let's say, psionic abilities, astral traveling, remote viewing, you go on the radar of the powers
Mhm.
that are there. So this is really wild, but I'm going to speak it anyway. I do believe
Mhm.
that we are monitored, all of us.
Oh yeah,
The
definitely.
astral plane is monitored by all types of creatures, human, non-human,
Mhm.
ET, extraterrestrial, um, uh, cyborg. It's all monitored.
Mhm.
And when you are, when you are traveling like what you are, like what you did, you got onto, I believe, you got onto someone's radar.
Yeah,
As
definitely.
as a child,
Mhm.
much like the Montauk children, you were hijacked and utilized. Um, Now, I do have at least three videos of you, I think, on my
Yeah.
YouTube channel already. We have three Starseed Nani recordings.
Mhm.
Um, so I just want to jump back a little bit. At
Okay.
the end of our very first meeting, our very first
Mhm.
session, which I believe was an intuitive energy session, is what I remember
Yes.
you got. I knew that you needed to be assisted. And I was just like, well, I'll work with you. I don't care about payment. I felt it on my heart. I was like, you we can do work together. And the fruit of that, some of it is there on the YouTube already, as the
Mhm.
Starseed Nani series. Um, but once you became on the radar of the
Mhm.
darker, you were also on the radar of the light, weren't you?
Oh yes. Yes, definitely.
Right. Okay. So, can we talk a little bit about what you experienced with the positive, we can call them positive
Mhm.
extraterrestrials, and what kind of missions, because these missions are
Mhm.
fascinating. And and
Yeah.
and you just go wherever you want to go. Don't say anything you don't want to say, but give us a little bit of an idea as to how you were
Okay.
utilized.
Well, it um well the first memories that I have of being with positive, ET, I was with other children. It
Right.
wasn't
Okay.
just me, there were other children. And we were playing around. There was like this huge garden. It was gorgeous, the most beautiful garden I've ever seen. And there were other children. They looked some looked similar to me, some were very different. Some were blue, no hair. They were taller, but they were still kids. When we're children, we see someone taller, we figure, oh, they're older. But it
Mm-hmm,
wasn't the
mm-hmm,
case. And we were all just playing that they were like trying to make me feel comfortable, letting me see that it wasn't, I was not in danger. I was being taken care of. And look, there are other children like you. They're free, they're playing. That was the very first that I saw. But after that, it was a classroom, but it was in a ship. I was up in the ship, but all the kids that were with me on that first visit, we were all in this classroom. And in that classroom, that's where they would tell us, what our missions were and what we needed to do and what we had to be aware of. Unfortunately, I'm on a a more of a need to know basis, you know. So once I'm awake, once I'm back into my body here, I still have memories of what happens, but not necessarily the information.
Mhm. So what
Um,
you're saying right now, what you're describing is very
mhm,
similar to Jean-Charles Moyen. He is a French SSP experiencer who had, these kind of like memories of being a
mhm,
child and being in a classroom with other children, other races, just very, very similar.
yeah.
Very, very wonderful man. I had the pleasure of meeting him a couple of times. So um, please continue.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Well, at first the missions kind of vary.
Hmm.
Most of the time when we were still kids, we were building. We were building things. We were
Hmm.
building machines. We were building computers. There was even a point when I was a little bit older. I think I was about 12, 13 years old. Uh, our task was to build a ship. It was fascinating, you know. I still remember uh, being with those kids. I remember us getting older together. Whenever we got together, you know, we would grow up together, you know, um, and we would build this thing, this ship, and then the missions would change. It was like, okay, now that you have this ship, now you have to go from point A to point B, and so on. And usually I was with the team because we were, you know, we were a team, all of us. But I also had like solo missions, like reconnaissance. If am I saying it right? Reconnaissance.
Yep.
Yeah, because what was beneficial in those missions about me being so shy, you know, and quiet and all that, I was so still that they couldn't feel my presence.
Mm.
I could not be felt. So usually they would um be like backup. You know, they would watch my back, and I would be the one to go into and bring the information.
Hmm.
But there were other times, and I do remember we had like swords. They were like swords, but it was light. And that sometimes we had to go to some places, and whatever darkness was in there, whether they were demons, the demonic, and all that, we would use those swords. Um, I think they're called gamma, with
Hmm.
the gamma light, and we would go in there and cleanse the place. Um, However, the ETs, they have the ability to change your memory a little bit. In my case, sometimes it, I'm familiar with swords. I love swords. I love all that kind of history. So it's like they changed whatever technology I was using. They changed the image to a sword. So that's
Hmm.
why I'm calling it that way. I know now that it's a gamma, but I can't say further than that. So when I came looking for you, looking for help, um, not only was I going through a hard time, you know, in my life, in the physical, but the missions had shifted in that plane as well. And it was like everything I knew how to do, everything I was good at, it was gone. So it's like,
Mhm.
okay, so what's my purpose now? What's
Right.
my purpose now? This is the one thing that I was constantly good at,
Mhm.
liberating
And
people and spying and getting information.
mhm. And so I think
So
it's important to say that this is not in the physical realm. These are
no,
in the astral realms. And
yes.
so you would come back to the physical realm.
Hmm.
And what was it like for you to just be a human? Because your whole existence, your sense of purpose,
Hmm.
your joy, your fun, your acceptance was not in this reality. It was in the non-physical. So,
Correct. Yeah.
so talk a little bit about that because I know that there are people out there that will identify with you. I know it.
Well, hmm. I mean, there were times where when it was physical, I
Okay,
would wake up with bruising and cuts and
did that.
things that did not make any sense of having. I didn't bump into a chair or a table. I didn't fall, and all the injuries I would have were consistent with what I remember in those
Wow.
dreams, quote unquote.
Okay.
Um, well, that's a kind of a tough question to answer because since it had been happening from childhood, for a really long time, I kind of accepted it. There was an acceptance that that's just what happened, and
Yeah.
it
That
didn't
is
make
pretty
sense. Yeah.
that is pretty wild. I mean,
Hmm.
I've heard of that before.
Yeah.
I've heard of that before, and I really think, do you think that you were actually physically taken? Do you think it was,
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
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 Did you
Not
ever
as often, but
yeah.
yeah.
So did you ever experience like what I've heard some people say that their clothes were on different or they were on the wrong side of the bed when they woke up or in a different room? Did that ever
Hmm.
happen to you?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Wow.
it has happened. Yeah. Um, there was a few times when I would wake up like in, in a haze or something. You know how sometimes you're asleep and your body just jerks. There's this jerking, and I open my eyes, and what the heck is going on? And I'm lying across the bed
Yeah.
and I'm just sitting down across the bed. I'm just sitting,
Mm-hmm.
and okay, and then because I'm aware that that happens, these people, I would just turn and go back to sleep.
So this
Um,
was normal for you. This was
yeah,
your normal life.
yeah. There were times when I would have shoes on, and there were other
Got that.
times that my feet would be, my feet up to my ankle, almost half my leg, would be dirty, but muddy, dark mud. And there's nothing like that in my home. Nothing. I
Wow.
mean, we do have mud, but it's red.
Right. Okay.
It's like a bright orange.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a bright orange, like kind of like clay. So
Fascinating.
there is nothing around here that would be even similar to it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I would know, okay, I was out there somewhere doing something. Sometimes, most of the time, I would remember immediately after waking up. Sometimes it took a little longer,
Mm-hmm.
especially if the mission wasn't complete.
Right.
Especially if it
We
wasn't complete.
we did a series of soul fragment retrievals.
Mhm.
because it was found that every time you did like a really particular missions that they wanted markers for you
Mhm.
or something, you would leave a little fragment of your soul there. Would you could you just talk a little bit about that experience? It's interesting. It's not even about that experience, but what I'm curious to know was in your physical, having that parts of your soul not present. What was that like for you? How did you feel? And since we did the soul fragment retrievals, do you feel
Mhm.
a difference?
Well, there was a feeling of emptiness, hollow, something, just something hollow. Sometimes I would just stare into space and, like I'm there, but I'm not there, kind of. Um, and there were even times when I felt, I'm just a heartless person because I don't feel emotion the same way other people do, or, there was, and I don't care, or they deserve it, or I don't know, there was less empathy. There was
Yeah.
definitely less empathy. And it kind of messed with me a little bit
Mm-hmm.
because I've never done anything wrong to other people. I'm not a vengeful person. I'm not a hateful person. But there was just this, I really don't care. So
Okay.
I really just don't care. Whatever.
Fair. I mean, that's very, yeah, thank you for sharing that. And I think like I said, I think people are going to identify with this very strongly. Now, did you ever consider ending your life?
Yeah, I did. I did many, many times. Many
Mm-hmm.
times it crossed my mind. I didn't feel useful. I didn't feel with purpose. I didn't feel like I belonged in here. I wasn't understood. There was so many, you know, dark thoughts or negative thoughts just spinning around. It was like, you know what? If God doesn't want to take me, I'm gonna go to him either way. That was
Yeah.
the reasoning, but it wasn't even at that time. It wasn't even emotional then. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I want to kill myself. This is what I want to do. I did it. Did it work? No. Okay, I'll do it next time. It was just like that. Just,
Wow.
yeah,
Matter of fact.
it was just like that. Very nonchalant, whatever. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I wanted coffee. There's no coffee in the pot, whatever. It was, it was just like that.
Wow.
Very, yeah, very
Very nonchalant.
unemotional, very nonchalant.
Mm-hmm.
It was just another day.
Mm-hmm.
For some people would have said that was a dark time in my life, or that was a rock bottom in my life. For me, that was just Tuesday.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now that we've retrieved your soul fragments,
Mm.
how are you feeling now?
Well, I'm definitely reconnecting more emotionally. Um,
Mm-hmm.
though, uh, the irony, oh, the irony. Um, it was tough at first because it had been such a long time since I was put together,
Mm-hmm.
and there were memories in those fragments. that I didn't even know about. I didn't, there were some wounds in those as well.
Mhm.
And going from this nonchalant whatever to feeling everything at once was overwhelming, was very overwhelming.
Mhm.
I remember that first time that we retrieved the particles. I actually cried that night. I actually cried that night. I don't think I told you that, but
Mm-mm.
I did. And it was the dumbest thing. It was something that happened when I was a kid, maybe 6 or 7 years old. My mom bought ice cream for my little cousins that were visiting, but she didn't buy me ice cream. And I was
Mm.
crying. It's like, oh, I didn't get any ice cream that day.
Fascinating.
And I was, what the heck, man? You're a grown ass woman. It's been years. What's going on? And that's when I realized, yeah, because you didn't have that information with you because I started leaving those particles when I was so young. So there were a lot of emotional moments that I did not work through. So to me, it was completely new. Like, yeah, it happened years ago. I'm not gonna
Mhm.
say how many. It
Mhm.
happened years ago, but to me, it was as recent as a couple of hours.
Interesting. So interesting.
Yeah.
And where are you now um, with the integration of these fragments of your soul?
Well, I've made peace with them through our sessions and, talking and I still listen to your recordings from time to time to, just tune in a little bit.
Mhm.
And I'm feeling more secure. I'm feeling more at peace. There still are those moments, but they don't last as long as they used to, which is amazing.
Right.
Amazing, absolutely amazing.
Hmm.
I'm still a bit nonchalant about certain things, but I'm definitely more empathetic. I I try to see things from other people's point of view. I'm more objective.
Hmm.
I've always been an objective person, but now it's even more so.
Hmm.
So I try to be a bit more understanding and to being me.
Compassionate, maybe?
Going back, compassion. Yeah, that's the word.
Yeah,
Thank you.
okay. And I have always been, I think one of the reasons why you were drawn to me is that I've had experiences with the demonic. I've had
Mm,
experiences with extraterrestrials. I've had
yeah,
experiences with the light and with the dark. And so I you can speak to me and I'm not going to flinch. Yeah, it's like
yeah,
and
that's
I
definitely part of it. Yeah,
I think that was really important. Hmm.
yeah,
And you gave me a list of things because we always talk about goals. And also the reason I brought that up is as far as I believe, it's
mhm,
you, right? That my focus is on. It's the Nanichy, it's the person who is in the physical, awake, and in the now moment. That is all that matters. Not that what happens in other realms is not important, but my goal is to help you integrate into this realm because we're all here for the ascension. We're all here as star seeds to anchor in that light.
energy. Hmm.
Yep, all the energy and in the light. And I remember you came to me with a list because we had some goals. And you said something very beautiful to me. And I was wondering if you could just share. I hope you remember what I'm talking about. You went out for ice cream.
Hmm.
Could you
Yeah, I
just
remember.
share
Mhm.
the the realization that came to you at that moment?
Well, that was we had worked about 3, 4 sessions by that time, and my goal, one of my main goals at that time, just a little bit of a background for those that are listening. I had a really, really hard time getting out of the house. I was even diagnosed with agoraphobia, people who have a phobia of leaving the home where they feel safe and all. And I was also having a lot of health problems at that time, um, anxiety, panic attacks, low blood sugar, a lot of things, a lot of pain in my body. So that made it even harder to leave the home. And my biggest goal at that time was just to be able to get out of the house, go into in a mall. It didn't matter which one. There's a small one close to where I live. And I just wanted to buy ice cream and sit in a bench, completely relaxed, and just watch people, watching parents with their children, watching children chasing after their parents, and, just being present in that moment with that surrounding me. For whatever reason, that was such a big goal for me at that time. And it did happen. I mean, I didn't get the ice cream, but it did
Okay.
happen. It did happen. I was outside one of my favorite stores. Um, it's uh, it's very homey. There's a lot of home items and all, and I'm obsessed with it. For me, that's heaven. Because we don't have that where we are from. You know, that concept of having a dining room, living room, tables, lamps, all those things that doesn't really exist. They're very minimalism. So being around it is always very exciting. And I try to enjoy it as much as I can because you know, I can take it back to my shift if I wish I could. So I was sitting in front of that store and I just felt this peace. And I was watching people exactly the way I envisioned in our session. Because there was a little exercise under the hypnosis where I would see myself in that space doing what I wanted to do. And I got it. And as soon as I realized exactly what I was doing, I didn't cry, but I did get watery. I was emotional. And there was just this happiness, this bliss, happy, and such a relief. It's like, yes, I'm starting to feel back uh, on earth with people around me because that's what we're here for. You know, we're here because the ascension is not ours. It doesn't belong to us. We are not the ones going through the ascension. It's the unawakened souls. They're the earthly souls, the ones that are native to Earth, to this uh, star system. We're just here to anchor that energy. Something a lot of I've noticed a lot of people don't really understand. They always say, "Oh, we are going through an ascension." No, we're
Mhm.
not. We ascended millennia ago. We just don't remember. And why are we here? Because we went through it, because we are teachers. Every single one of us. It can be as small as saying bless you to someone who sneezes next to you, to making a foundation, not it's the I always say it's the little things that feed the bigger things. You don't have to do something colossal to be a change. Just being happy with your life,
Yes.
feed that energy. And during those times where parts of me were missing, that was a concept I couldn't understand. But as soon as everything started to integrate and become part of myself again, it was like, so this is why I'm this way. Because I'm also very funny. I'm always making jokes and making comments, making people laugh. I have the heart of a kid. I have the heart of a kid. I embrace it fully. I'm not ashamed of it.
Beautiful.
And it's like that innocence, that curiosity, that acceptance, that's the part I'm anchoring as an individual.
Mm-hmm.
And it feeds the collective.
Right.
So it doesn't only help me live my life in a better way, healthier way, or happier, but it helps everyone else as, as well. I mean, don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. It's not like I don't go through my downs.
Sure.
Everybody does.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody does. I mean, but I don't dwell on it. That's the important part, not to dwell in it.
Right.
And the reason I'm saying this is because I, I'm very observant. I watch people all the time. So something I've noticed is they're always looking for a quick, easy thing. That
Yeah.
doesn't exist.
Right.
So if you're looking for help through this channel or any other for that matter, whether it's hypnosis or channeling, you have to be open to it. You have to be willing to go through it. And more importantly, you have to accept that what you're going to hear most likely won't be what you want to hear, but it's
Mm.
definitely what you need.
Right.
It's definitely what you need. It may be painful, but you'll get through it.
Mm-hmm.
You'll
Yeah.
definitely get through it.
Yeah.
Just observe it. Okay, and Marie told me that, I don't know, I get stomach pains because my mother didn't love me. Let's say that for a moment. Yeah, screw Anne Marie. I know my mother loved me. What the hell does she know? She wasn't with me when I was growing up. Okay, it sucks. But if you're open to it, you'll realize that energetically, when we don't get what we need from our parents, it manifests in the stomach, right in that chakra.
Mm-hmm.
So all that energy gathered in there, it's upsetting your stomach. It doesn't mean that your mom didn't love you. It just means that in that experience, in that exchange with your parent, there was a feeling of neglect and it accumulates.
Mm-hmm.
And you may be thinking, oh, come on, that was 20 years ago, 40, 30, whatever the case. If it's unresolved, it's there. It doesn't matter if you were a month old, a year old, it doesn't matter.
So usually when I do my energy work, I will tap into things like that. When I'm doing the
Mhm.
hypnosis work,
Mhm.
you will go to that memory yourself.
Yeah.
And that's, you've experienced that many times where I'll regress
Oh
you
yeah.
to a memory and then you'll be like, oh my gosh, this is where it is. And we'll go in there and heal it. The thing
Mhm.
about when you're a child is that you're emotionally incapable of
Yeah.
processing
Children are
your
not,
your world.
no, they're
And
not
so,
capable of
yeah,
self-regulating, of working, And unfortunately, all those stupid books, I'm sorry if you're offended, take it or leave it. But those stupid books of, oh, here are 5 steps of how to take care of your baby or how to, they're dumb as hell. Don't listen to that crap. There's this one guy, Dr. Spock, who was so famous in the 70s and 60s. BS. The
yeah,
first thing he tells you to do is just let your kid cry. He will calm himself down. No, they're not capable. They don't know. They're not capable. And that's where all the trauma starts. The trauma begins at birth.
right.
Even that part when the doctor takes you away from the mother,
Hmm.
you may think, oh, yeah, but they have to clean up the baby. So what? The first experience they have is being taken away from their mother.
Hmm.
That's why so many obstetricians and all have been changing that part where instead of taking the baby away and quickly cutting the umbilical cord, they quickly put it on the mom, on top of the mom because
It
that
just,
first contact
right.
is needed.
Hmm.
You know,
Right.
a lot of people don't think about that, and it's as simple
Hmm.
as that. And yeah,
Yeah.
we did regress a lot into those memories. I think there was one we worked when I was still in my mom's womb, I
Yep.
believe. So
Hmm.
yeah, it can happen. So don't close yourself off just because you think it's been a long time. I mean, if it's a thorn on your side, it's a thorn on your side. You got to pluck
Right.
it out,
Yeah, and
you know?
that's what I love about hypnotherapy because the conscious mind will not know. The
Mhm.
conscious mind will think it knows, but that's the ego. But the soul, the actual subconscious record of you being who you are in this incarnation, me being Anne Marie, you being Nanichy, uh,
Mhm.
that's in the subconscious memory, and the subconscious is the governing body of your nervous system, and then your
Yeah.
nervous system then generates your physical, so the energy manifests into the physical. So
Yeah.
yeah, you are 100% correct. 100% correct on that. So we is there anything else you would like to get out there for people to maybe understand a life like yours, or
Mhm.
maybe they are experiencing something similar? What can you tell people about that? Share more of your wisdom.
Okay. Well, the first thing I would like to say is you are not alone.
Mm,
You are not going through it alone. You are not experiencing it alone. You are not crazy. You're not out of your mind. Okay? There are many, many, many other people who have gone through it. And I'm not saying it to take away what you're going through. I'm just saying it so you're aware that you're not being singled out. Because when we go through something and we know other people have, there's this hope that maybe we can meet someone who's been through it. Maybe we can find information about this, or one or the other. But I also want to say, you know, we are being supported all the time by other ETs, by our galactic family. We are being supported by angels. We are being supported by spiritual beings who have been with us in this human form, like a family member or a friend or whatever, whoever was closest to you. So you are not by yourself. I think that's the most important part, because the feeling of loneliness when going through those experiences is what can make you grieve or go crazy. And sometimes it makes you feel crazier than the experience itself, because you can't speak about it to anyone. And nowadays, there's a broader um, channels, there are broader horizons where you can express it and be supported. You can do it on YouTube, you can do it on Facebook, you can do it on TikTok or whatever it is. You can write a book, you can write a blog. There are so many outlets out there that I didn't have when I was growing up. That didn't exist. I'm a 90s kid that we didn't have that. I was a poor 90s kid. Because yeah,
Right.
that's when computers, sorry about that.
Mm-hmm.
That's when computers and internet was beginning, to develop on a broader scale. So it wasn't a
Mm-hmm.
common thing. So I couldn't connect to other people. I couldn't look up Anne Marie or Tina Spalding or
Mm-hmm. Right.
Daniel Scranton. No.
Right. And there's much more acceptance, there's much
Yeah,
more community.
more.
And
Yeah.
that's what, the internet is a double-edged sword. Everything has
Mm,
double edges, right?
yeah.
Technology, any new thing. And but the beauty of the internet and forums such as YouTube or Rumble or whatever it is, all the social
Hmm.
media, is that people will find you. And there's
Yeah.
also, listen, supernatural nudges that we get, the synchronicities. I mean, I recall in my own
Yeah.
life uh, that I was just surfing, and that's when I came across Tina Spalding, and that was like the beginning of a new chapter in my life. And so I know that spirit has a way of manipulating electricity. And
Hmm.
basically, they can, you are divinely guided. So if you're here listening to this, you're here for a reason. I have that on my website. You're here for a
You're
reason.
here for a reason.
There's no mistakes out there. And
No.
we discount our guides. We
Hmm.
don't give them enough credit. Um, what are you doing? So this is Heal Your Mind, Heal the World podcast. And you are we're all in the process of healing our mind.
Hmm.
It's an ongoing thing, right?
Constant. Yeah.
Once we're done healing our minds, we might as well not be here anymore, I think. Um, but in your life now, healing your mind and healing the world, uh, what do you look forward to now?
I'm focusing on writing a book about my experiences. After we did our first couple of sessions, I started thinking about uh, the memories and the places we went to during the hypnosis. And I just thought, you know what? Other people need this reassurance that they're not alone in this. That's a big part.
Right.
And at first, it was there was an excitement, I wonder if I publish this, will one of the guys that was with me in that, will they remember it? Will they know me? Will they remember me? Are we gonna get together? Are we gonna make a reunion? It was just going nonstop, just going and going. That's the goal for now. I want to focus on that because
Right.
there is so much information. I mean, I know we did the videos for YouTube, but that's not even the tip of the iceberg. That's not even the tip of the iceberg. I mean, we
Mm-hmm.
could be here for days. We could be here
Right.
for days.
It's
And
so hard.
that's a part.
It's so hard to quantify
Yeah.
experiences on such a vast scale. And I know
Mhm.
that with other, secret space people, you can't just condense 20 years. You can't
Mhm.
condense 15 years. You can't do that. It's
Yeah.
very, very difficult. You have lifetimes that you have lived in these
Mhm.
realms. And it's very healing when you write your book. And so I
Yeah.
highly encourage you, and I encourage you to do that because you will,
Thank you.
and you never know what's going to happen. And I love how you described that excitement that you got, because
Yeah,
that is the God spark. That is your
mhm.
guidance saying to you, "Oh my gosh, wouldn't it be wonderful if I wrote this book?" And then the ego comes in, and then it's like, but it's so much work. And they're like, I don't know if I can do it. So, I mean, you're experiencing the truth about who you are,
Mhm. Yeah.
and you can tap into that and take that excitement and run with it. I also
Yeah.
want to mention something that you said earlier, and kind of like talk
Mhm.
about that. When you increase your frequency and your light, you made a
Mhm.
beautiful point. It's not like things aren't going to happen to you, because we are in a physical body, we're in this dimension. There are
Mhm.
ups and there are downs. But what shifts is the recovery time. What shifts is how you deal with your problems. Once you are letting more light into your body, which is basically what this work is,
Yeah.
you're embodying more light, right? I mean, that's what happens when we do this in our realm. um, you deal with the 3D in a different way.
Well, one of the best pieces of advice I had ever gotten was sometimes 3D problems need 3D solutions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So if you're having health problems, for example, and you feel no, because this is not very spiritual, medicine is poison, it can be, but it can also help. I mean, don't forget doctors and medicine save lives every day as well. So
Mm-hmm.
even if your mind is for 5D or whatever, but your body is still in 3D, it needs 3D solution. That's
That's
very
exactly what
important.
my guides told me, and you know this because we were in
Mhm.
contact during
Yeah,
my whole thyroid crisis. And I was panicked to take the medicine, absolutely panicked. But my guide said, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. If
mhm.
like you said, the medical establishment saves lives every day. So thank you for bringing that up, because it is so important. And a lot of us who are very spiritually focused will actually do damage.
Yeah.
will actually do damage to the physical body. Um,
Yeah,
unless
and
they heal it. Yeah.
don't feel guilty about it. I
Yeah.
mean, personally, in my experience, for example, I tend to eat a lot of heavy foods, a lot of carbs, meat, rice, bread, there
Hmm.
are a lot of heavy foods. And some people might look and say, that's not a very healthy diet, or you should be vegan, or you should be
Hmm.
vegetarian if you're that spiritual.
Right.
That's not how it works, okay? You can be vegan and still be a dick. It doesn't work that way. In my case, I need those heavy foods, because my body not only works with those foods, but I need to be grounded
Hmm.
halfway in between the 3D and the 4D because that is where my mission is.
Right. Hmm.
You gotta see where yours is. Where
Right.
is your mission? Where is your awareness? Are you supposed to work with 3D people? Are you supposed to be in the 4D preparing the way for, for 3D to go into 5D? Where are you standing? And then make your decision. That's why non-judgment is so important.
Right. And it also generates very limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
It's also
You
very
know,
accusatory, and it's
hmm
contrary to the
yeah.
principle of oneness,
hmm
right? I mean, it generates limiting beliefs. Well, you can't do this, you have to do that. Why?
No, that's not how it works. No. You
Why?
could, listen, you could drink alcohol, smoke like a chimney, and be 7D than someone who's been vegan and nonviolent their whole lives.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why is that? You have to see how the person lives, how they live. Is he a
Mm-hmm.
hypocrite?
Mm-hmm.
That's a big one. Is he judging other people? That's another. Does he help others with not wanting anything in return? Do you inflate yourself, inflate your ego? Oh, I am 7D because I'm vegan. You're dumb. If you think that way, I'm sorry. They're my
Love it.
words. Anne Marie is not saying it. That's just, you know, I'm very blunt. You're just dumb,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately. Am
Mm-hmm.
I being loving by saying that? Probably not, but I'm aware of it. I'm
Mm-hmm.
aware it's not a loving thing to say. I just don't care.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference.
If you're standing in your truth, and the
Ex-
way I interpret that, if you're
mhm,
speaking from your truth, the way someone interprets it is none of your business. It's on them.
exactly.
So you are serving as a trigger, you're serving as a mirror, you're serving in one way or another to awaken within them what they need for their next up leveling in this incarnation. So uh do you, girl. That's really it. Just do
Exactly. You do
you.
you. You
Yep,
do
you do
you.
you. Mm-hmm.
You do you. I mean, I'm not telling people to go smoke and drink. No,
Right.
I'm not saying that.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I'm definitely not. But
Yeah.
it doesn't make you lesser than or lower than.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
No.
how often do we hear that alcohol is a poison,
Mm-hmm.
right? From many outlets, whether it's medicine, whether it's religious or spiritual, that's information is constant, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's say Jesus, for example, is he a high enlightened being? Yes or no? Well,
Mm-hmm.
yes, of course. He's the Messiah. He's the teacher. He's, the highest consciousness that you can be in human form. But he still drank wine. He
Mhm.
made wine when there was none. My
Mhm.
point with this is that even, you know, you can be as enlightened as Jesus and still, and not be this strict, know this, know that, because then it doesn't have to be that way. Was
Mhm.
he right? I don't know. Was he wrong? I don't know.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, I
to
mean,
be
and
perfectly
alcohol is
honest,
a,
I don't really
exactly
care either.
right. Well, thank you. Thank you for that perspective. I was just on a retreat and we were talking about that, and my guides told me when you have a drink, you relax a little bit more and we're able
Mhm.
to communicate with you a little bit more because I tend to be very uptight. I tend to be a very uptight person and
Yeah,
I've got a lot of responsibility and blah, blah, blah. I mean, I
yeah,
don't
that
drink
happens.
alcohol anymore because of my health condition because it's no longer beneficial in my body. But I miss it. I mean, if I could, I would, but I miss it.
I
Um,
get it. Yeah.
yeah, I
No,
mean,
it
it's
happens.
all a part of that. And again, um, even if we take it to a higher level, every experience is okay. It is what
Yeah,
it is.
we
There is no judgment in spirit. There's no judgment.
no
We're the ones who put the judgment on things.
on us. Yeah,
And yeah, that's where it is with us.
yeah,
So,
definitely.
yeah.
There's a lesson that I learned just recently that's been mind blowing and just incredible that we are individual pieces of God getting to know itself, experiencing itself. So, in a way, even God, or at least those aspects of God, is learning along with us
Mhm.
as we experience existence as individuals. And that's kind of comforting because then you realize God is with me at all times.
Mhm.
And that just opens a completely different gate of spirituality. I mean, I'm aware that some people don't believe in God. They may believe it in a different way, or they may not believe in it at all. But that's not the purpose. God has many names. He has many ways of interpreting himself. That's why some people say the more I see science, the less I believe. For me, the more I see science, the more I believe. Science
Mhm.
is the evidence of God, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah.
However, if you're a conscious person, if you're true to yourself, n- everything we've spoken about, even if you don't believe in God or a God, you are a high vibrating frequency being. A lot of people don't understand that.
Right.
That's why a big part of my goal is writing that book. Because I think there'll be a lot of information in there that could help change perspectives.
Right. Beautiful. I really look forward to it, Nani. I really do. I really look forward to that beautiful book. So thank you for being here. Are there any
Well, thank you
closing
for having
words?
me.
Any closing words you want to give to people or
Ooh,
anything? Can people reach out to you? Tell me.
Well, I recently opened a YouTube channel called
Mm-hmm.
Starseed Nani. Unfortunately, it's been on standby for a while,
Mm-hmm.
but I do have a couple of videos. You can write the in the comment section. I'm gonna be putting up an email for people to reach out, and we'll see how it goes. Because
Perfect.
I do want to reach out. I want to be more open. I think it's time. And my guys have been very pushy about it.
Mhm. It's
Uh,
so interesting because the last time we spoke, when we set this appointment up,
mhm.
before you called me, it dropped into my head, you should interview Nanichy. And then you called me and we're
Mhm.
talking. And then what did you
Yeah,
say?
they told me you need to interview me. That's
So
exactly what they
we're,
said.
we're just following orders, right? We're just following
Yeah,
orders
following
here,
orders. Yeah,
following orders and the divine
yeah.
plan. Um, Nanichi, I love you. You know I do.
I love you too, Mama.
And
Yeah, I call
I
her Mama. She's my Mama.
I'm a
You
lot of
can reach
people's
out.
mama.
Well, you can reach out to me if you have any questions or
Mhm,
share any experiences
mhm,
at starseednani@gmail.com.
mhm.
Or I go back from time to time into Anne Marie's video, so you can write it in the comment if you want, and
Mhm.
I'll answer. I'll do my best to answer, and I hope to be back in time to talk more about what we're doing and develop more my channel a little bit more because
So it's
I think it would
beautiful.
help.
It would help people, and but at the same time, Nani, all we have to do is make ourselves happy. That's all we have to do. And if service is a part of that, then wonderful. That's icing, right? That's icing on the cake.
Definitely, yeah.
And I can't
Trust
stress
me,
that
I
enough.
trust me, I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't feel like
Like
that
it's time.
push that I need to.
Yeah.
I
And
don't do what I don't want to. I go
that's
kicking and
it.
screaming.
And I really want to reiterate the thought of you a year ago coming public.
Yeah,
I don't think you'd
yeah,
never,
that's no.
you'd be like, F you, Anne Marie.
Mhm.
I'm never going to do that shit. I'm not.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So there is evolution, there is thought, there is love.
Yeah,
And I'm so happy to be witness to your amazing transformation.
I'm happy to work with you and I'm happy to be here and I'm just overall happy.
You can't ask for anything more than that. All right, everybody. Thank you for being around. Thank you for sticking it out. Again, my name is Anne Marie Morales. I am a certified transpersonal hypnotherapist, intuitive energy healer, and I am here at your service. Find my stuff at ammhypnotherapy.com. And I'm going to Egypt, January of 2027. Come on with me. Like minded people, it's going to be awesome. Okay. Bye, Nani. Bye,
Take
everyone.
care.